Well, good morning, flight simmers out there. Welcome to Flying with Mike. We are on the last leg of our let me try that again. First tour flights that we've done with Millennial Aviation, and it is going into Wainwright from where we left off at Cape Lisburne. Now, I thought about bringing out the King Air to finish this up, but I'm going to go ahead and finish it in the Caravan. It's about 135, 100, I think it's 130, 145 mile run. Hang on a second here. It's just getting a couple things. There we go. Get down a little more. There we go. So, but anyway, we are in the Caravan, as you can see here, on the ramp here at Cape um, Lisburne. There isn't much to it. It's just a gravel lot, basically, if you will. The aircraft park, off and on the cargo, off and on the people, and away they go. Pretty simple, straightforward place. And that's exactly what we're going to do after we get into the pre-flight brief. Then we'll get this thing cranked up and warming back up for the passengers, so that way they're a little more comfortable for the flight ahead. All right, so Sim Toolkit shows us at, well, kind of, sort of, wants to. Let me see if it's showing. There it goes now. Showing us there. And let me zoom down a little. You can see this little makeshift ramp we're at. The little red line you see, we started there and came on down to here. But what we're going to do is back taxi runway 9 to take off. Now, our first fix LUR is right, as you can see, off the end of the runway, and then we go direct. Okay, so let's pull up the current flight, LUR to PIZ to UKK. Now, this portion of the trip may divert to the RNAV so we can better come in on runway 24 up at Wainwright. All right, so let's talk airport here at Cape Lisburne. We're 14 feet above sea level. Got a 4,800 foot runway. This is a military base, so primarily and really ultimately only aircraft being chartered or flown by the military should be using it. Now we're going to be taking off, like I said, on runway 9. That's heading 089, as you can see here on the Sim Toolkit. And of course, we're not even going to get close to the transition, so we don't need to worry about it. Wainwright is about 220 miles northeast of here. We'll be planning runway 24. They only have runway 24 and 6. It's a call it 4,500 foot runway heading 235. So kind of gives you an idea what we have going on. Weather there, not available. However, weather here, 120 at 14 gusts, or sorry, 10 miles visibility and clear. Minus 23 degrees Celsius, minus 27 degrees Celsius on the dew point. So altimeter is 3093. Oh, excuse me there, folks, for the yawn. All right, so coming over here to our flight plan. We are in the Cessna 208, shows the type engine. We're going to go with a 1900 maximum cruise range. Ground distance again, 222. They have us going to 7,000. That's perfectly fine. Fuel for the flight, actually want to update that in here. Hang on. Oh, actually, we're okay. Cool. All right, and let me make sure we weren't ghosted, as they love to do to us. That's why we taxied. We decided to come on down to here. Even though X-Plane does not paint the ramp, uh, POSCON at least paints us off the runway here. I don't know now if I'm far enough away or what. So, um, again, returning. Block fuel out of here is 1,318 pounds. Let's see. We're going to have roughly 314 pounds if we had to divert to Barrow, which is our alternate. It's about 60 miles northeast of Wainwright. Coming down, as you can see, it's actually, I know it says how far it is. Dang it. Oh, well, it's not track 98 miles. So I knew it was on there. It's a direct run, basically. Routing again is here. And looking at about an hour to 2 hours of flight time here. All right, so we got 6 passengers, 1,000 pounds of cargo, bringing us up to 2380. And with our fuel, we'll be grossing out on the takeoff of 8417. All right, folks, so that wraps up the flight itself. Wind-wise, as soon as those charts become available. Okay, it's kind of shown it to you upside down. So that took me a second to figure this one out. All right, so PALU is actually would be down here. Wainwright would be up here. They flipped the chart for some weird reason. Wind-wise, that's going to make things even more interesting. Looks like we may pop a tailwind. That's the ground level at 5,000. Again, still looking at a light tailwind. And even this looks like a light tailwind. No significant terrain around us. That's really weird. Let me give you an idea why. Okay, this map is oriented correctly. North is in this general direction. I'm not sure which way. Would assume follow the lines of latitude. Oh, I'm sorry, longitude. Wait a minute. Yeah, longitude. So again, here's where we are, Cape Lisburne. Here's where we're traveling to, Wainwright, and then here's our alternate. Really funky maps there. All right. So with that, we're going to call the pre-brief complete. And let's get back into the cockpit here so we can continue on with our pre-start checks. And so mainly so we can get these people warmed up behind me. All right, so we're in the cockpit now. All right, pre-checks as they finalize getting things behind me. We're going to go ahead and close the doors up. Okay, all doors are closed. Now, one thing, folks, for those of you following us on Twitch, let me know if the sound is having troubles with the engines. I've turned things down again. I know on the way over from Cavallina to Cape Lisburne, We had one of our users report they had a hard time hearing the props. So let me know. I think I've got them set at a good level, but let me know. And I want to do one final check. Okay. All right, so pre-flight complete, doors closed, packs have been briefed, cabin doors closed, latched, crew doors closed, parking brake. And that's right here on the Caravan is set. Seats, harnesses, adjusted, secure. Switches are all off. Ignition to normal, which is this switch here. Let me help you out a little. Ignition to normal. Circuit breakers are all in. I lost my place. There we are. Up top here, both tanks are on. We're going to go ahead and turn the oxygen on. Okay. All right. Radar's off. Air conditioner is off. Inverter, we don't have a switch for that. Bleed air is off. Cabin heating mixing is pushed. Okay, cabin heating is here. They're pushed in. Bleed air's off. Temperature set to center. Emergency power is set. Power level to idle, which is closed. Okay. And propeller, that's the blue lever here to full forward. Prop or fuel condition lever to cut off. Rudder locks, fuel shutoffs are both on or removed and on. Battery switched on, wing flaps up. And we're going to do a fire check real quick on the engine. So the battery switch, folks, is right here. Turn that on. Click the red button. You should get a red light on this one right here. One last check. And now let's do the full annunciator check. Okay. Sorry for coughing in your ear. Okay, sorry for that, folks. All right, so we're going to push right into the engine start checks. One thing I want to do prior here, let's go ahead, since we're energized, get the nav lights on. And basically, we're making sure everything is closed and ready to start. Sure looks it. Okay, so back into the plane. Okay, voltometer is at 24 volts. Emergency power set. Prop clear. Fuel boost on. Okay, well, we're going to zoom down again. This one's your fuel boost. It's on. We're going to get standby power on. Let's come back up. That way you all can watch the engine fire up. This is one thing FSX doesn't do. Can't speak for prepared, but it does do it in X-Plane. Proper propeller start on a turboprop. Okay, at 12% on this gauge here, N1, we can go to low idle. I'll take it to the high side of that. And we're watching for this to spool up, and that is N, I believe 2. We're up. Okay. And okay, the starter is off. Now the reason I click it 3 times, for some reason in X-Plane, if you don't, when you first start, now I've started this plane a half dozen times already to get it into positions here. It won't let you, when you click the ignition to normal to off, you'll see the lights stay on. Well, now obviously it won't, because I've got that done that little trick they've told us to do. Okay, so the inverters have been tested, engine instruments checked, generators are charging, fuel boost to normal, auxiliary fuel pump to off. So I'm going to bring it back. Again, this is your auxiliary pump light on the annunciator panel. This is the switch. One click back. Okay, we're clear. Make sure. Okay. All right, and standby power to on. Avionics to on. Nav lights, beacons on. For now, we'll let the folks in the back be able to see. Let's go ahead and get some anti-ice going here because of how cold it is. Suction gauge is right here, and it's in the green. Heating and ventilation, defrosters. Okay, so now we can pull out our mix. Okay. And radios as required. Flight director's coming on. We're on standby. We have gotten our squawk code from POSCON 2073. And all we have to do now is set up our GPS. PALU is our departure airport. What I'm going to put in here is LUR. First off, we gotta drop it down and then just enter it in. As you can see. Okay, so here I'll do this one. Okay, then on the outer ring, move it over to the next level. Then in the where it says push center and you see the smaller, what looks like it's turning the knob to the left, just move it up to R. Cape Lisburne, NDB, enter. Accept. There's our first fix. Next fix up is Papa India Zulu. Basically the same thing, folks. Point lay. Let me make sure on the map. Point lay. Okay. All right, folks. For those of you new to the session, we appreciate you giving us a try. If you like what you're seeing and want to be more of a part of it, by at least joining in when we're flying, you'll get an email notification if you click follow. That way you'll know when we're airborne or when we're going live. All right, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and set us up as flight planned to UKK. That is Wainwright. Again, I'm going to make sure. Looks like that is the Wainwright Village NDB. Okay. So, again, we do the same things And then sometimes it'll fill it in if it's right on it, and it did here. Enter, accept. Then at the end here, all we got to do, Papa, Alpha, Whiskey, India. Enter, accept. So we're programmed all the way now from Cape Lisburne to the VOR, to PIZ, to UKK, to Wainwright. When we get airborne and we get closer, we'll get it set to the appropriate VNAV or RNAV arrival, and we'll bring it in that way. We don't have weather, so we really don't know what's going on there. Borrow is VFR. Point, oh, what was that point? Point lay is IFR, so we don't know. Sorry about that, folks. Had another frog in my throat there. All right. Hopefully coffee will kill the frog. Okay, so we are ready to go with the flight plan. And now you can see it on our chart here, or on our GPS. Frequency wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the guard channel they want us on with POSCON. We're going to go into the departure brief here momentarily, and we'll check to see if there's any common traffic frequencies we can use otherwise. So let's go ahead and move this over. What I do want to grab is the NDB frequency. Okay, 108.35 is the DME, and I've got that plugged in. No, I don't. Okay, 108.35 is the DME. It should be the DME here. Okay, let me double check again. Okay. .385 for the ADF, which is already set. Flight director's on. Okay, and all right, folks, so we are now ready. I'm going to go ahead and push us up, get a little bit of heat building in the plane. We're set with the parking brake. Okay. Now, finally, since we're going to 7, we'll set that. Okay, so we're up and going on Mac Air. We'll do a quick check there. Where are we? There we are. Okay, looks like we're good to go there. All right, folks. Let's do the departure brief real quick here, and then we're on our way. Okay, now Sim Toolkit's back up. Okay, for the departure brief, real quick wrap up here. 14 feet above sea level, 4,800 foot runway. We got a significant back taxi. We'll take care of that. 89 is the heading, and we're not going to worry. Weather is still 17:55, so it's about a half hour or a little over that in age. 120 at 14, and we're clear skies, so minus 23, so it is cold out there, folks. See if Wainwright's come up. Nope, has not. No problem. Now, one thing I also want you to know, we have set the time to where we're daylight. No reason to fly this at night here in Alaska. We'll show you the Terminator line here. Actually, we'll do that real quick. Okay, as soon as the map refreshes, there we go. Let me pull back. Here comes the Terminator line. So, oh, looks like Alaska is now starting to see some daylight this time of the year. It is winter time, that's why I'm a little hesitant to jump on flying it at normal times. Plus, there isn't a lot of daylight up here. Alright, so with Sim Toolkit up, what I'm going to do, let me make sure nothing else on this chart to help us out. Nope, okay. Let's head over to NavGraph. We're taking off from Cape Lisburne, heading up to Wainwright. Here's Point Lay in the middle. Alright, here on the airfield, we're parked right where the ramp is showing. Come on, zoom in. Guess it's not going to want to. Alright. And then we'll just back taxi 9 for takeoff. There is no SID out of here that's applicable to us. Now, for the arrival into, well, actually, let me go back to that. Frequency-wise, there it goes. Common traffic is 126.2. We'll use that for our departure. And 119.65 if we get Anchorage Center. Not anticipating that. Okay, now up at Wainwright, what we're going to be doing, once we get past Point Lay, we're going to go direct NVME instead of UKK. That'll put us on the RNAV. Now, the RNAV into here, I don't think is straight as it shows there. It may actually come in at a slight angle, because I thought there was terrain. I've flown into here one other time, but I could be wrong. I've been to a lot of different airports, so you never know. But anyway, we're going to go to Nemchu, to MEX IW, and then follow it in. Nemchu, we need to be, usually it tells you, so we don't want to be below 2,000 feet until we get past MEX IW, and then we follow it in. Of course, this is showing the RNAV channel 56642. This is the arrival brief. So anyway, quick, gives you a quick overview of what we're going to do. Common traffic up here will be 122.8. But again, my bad, we're a step ahead of us. So we'll finish it up, might as well, since we started it. 236 degrees for our inbound course, 1,700 feet at Topku, and decision altitude of 295. Airfields at 45 feet above sea level. Should not be any significant terrain as long as we stay above 2,000 feet. That's what this is saying here. And then once we're at the on the approach, we should see runway edge lighting. PAPI's on the right. Here is the missed approach. Real simple, climb 2,000 feet, direct OZYIB, and we hold or unless told otherwise by ETC. And that basically will be what we'll do on the arrival. No guarantees of this. I don't even remember that big ramp, but that was at FSX. They don't really model these airports, and I don't know how X-Plane's going to do. So we're coming into 4, and we'll exit right into the ramp. All right, folks, so you've had your both a glimpse into the arrival, a glimpse and a proper departure brief. The The only thing we did not discuss in the departure brief was the V speeds. V1 is going to be 65 knots. V rotate will be 70, and 83 will be V2, all of which won't be a factor with a 4,000-foot runway. Flap schedule, we should be, hang on a second, 20s. So hang on a second here. Flap speeds are as follows. Okay, 85 will bring the flaps up to 10, 95 up all the way. All right, so that, folks, concludes our departure brief. Any questions, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we are going to, hang on a second, that did not clear out as I wanted. There it goes. And let's get back into the cockpit here. And we're all warmed up. Taxi, we'll check the brakes and flight instruments. And since we're back taxiing, let's go ahead. Make sure the flight controls, we'll bring those back momentarily, or at least the pilots. There's all the way to the left, right, to the left, to the right, to the left. If you're doing aerobics, here you go. And to the left. Okay, pushing the elevator up, down, up, I'm sorry, down, up, down, up, down. Rudders to the right. Okay, and let's check full freedom here. Okay, we're good. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way for us right now. All right, folks, we're ready to release the brakes and head on down to the other end. We have to give it a little bit more power than we're used to. Okay, one thing I do want to check, 126.2 will go up now in the top, and flaps are at 20, and the brakes work. Let's get those beacons back on. Cape Lisburne traffic in Alaska. Mac Air 572 back taxiing runway 9 for departure. All right, so we got that announcement made. Go ahead and turn on our landing lights. Now, this is not necessarily a one-way in, one-way out airport, but it sure kind of looks like it when you look this way. Hang on a second while I zoom in. Okay. All right. It's kind of neat how it has what looks like a ski jump at the end. Love to see this in real life to see if that's for real. We're going to stop just at the base of that. And we'll talk to y'all at the other end of the runway. All right, folks on YouTube, welcome back. We're getting to the point where I think it's safe to turn around and instead of going all the way up this hill, and we'll make sure we get all the checks done before we roll here. Oops, off a little bit. Let me line us up. Okay. All right, folks. Pitot statics on, ice protection as required, GPS switch is set to nav. We're not going to run with the boots. We'll get the lights off in the cabin. All right, strobes are now on. They were on, they just went off with the touch of the brakes. Cabin heating is on, windows closed, brakes released, go to high idle. We, I think, are already at high idle. We are, flaps at 20. Folks, for the takeoff, it's flaps 20. Power, we're gonna set to, here, let me zoom in just so you can see. We're gonna go to 20, so we're gonna watch what we power up to. And we'll roll out of here once we're airborne and turning on course. We'll set our props to approximately 1900, then our power, and that'll be our climb out. Again, we'll rotate at 70, climb out at 83 to 85, and at 85 we'll bring the flaps up to 10. If there's no questions, let me get us ready to go here. Okay. And here we go, folks. Whoops, hang on a second, almost. Make sure that's set right, and it is. All right, transponders on. All right, folks. Okay, so we're going to go out on 038. That's what I want to set down here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now we got all our radios set, everything. Here we go, folks. Again, we're trying not to redline. 60 knots.
V1.
10.
Rotate.
Okay, flaps to 10.
V2.
Okay, we got the autopilot on, should be on, nav. Let me just check. Perfect. Flaps up. Alright, so what I said, let's do the after takeoff checks now. Okay, basically we need to set the props. So I'm going to zoom in here. Again, we're going for 1900. And then the power lever about the same. Okay. Climbing at 1,000, we're through 2,500, doing about 125 knots, a little slower, faster than normal. Climb is 80 to 95. Let's see what en route climbs are like. 110 to 120, still a little, but we'll kind of watch it. We're going up to 7,000. We're set at 1900. Torque is under 742 on the turbine temperature. Torque is set. Okay, and we are on our way, folks. Okay, the next big hurdle we have is when we get to 7,000. Okay, and we're doing 120 now, which is fine. Make sure our flaps are up and up. They are. Radar on. Autopilot is on. I don't know the commands in X-Plane for yaw dampers, so we won't use that to turn those on. We're now 7 miles from the airport, so we're going to go ahead and turn the landing and taxi lights off. Ignition to normal. Fuel pump is still at normal, and we are on our way, folks. Okay, what I am going to do right now is I'm checking $31.11. Okay. Get that altimeter set for the next airfield. Oh, by the way, when you saw that, folks, this is something I guess they call PBR in X-Plane. I may have the wrong acronym, but it kind of gives you the 3D look to the gauges that they do have here. See it a little bit more defined in these areas, but it's a pretty decent effect. I have to give it to them. That's more than FSX could ever do. 6,000, so we're about ready to start leveling off. Then we'll get outside the plane and go into cruise. Okay, here we come to 7,000. We always have troubles getting leveled off. We'll see if it does it today. So far, so good. Last run in the Caravan here for a little bit. It looks like some of the quirks have been worked out. Awesome. Alright folks, we are now level en route to Wainwright and into the cruise. Cruise check is, as was the climb check. The ice protection will remain on. Pitot static and static heats, which are these two switches here, they remain on. Window and prop, we'll go ahead and keep those on as well. Propeller is at 1900. Aircraft is trying to bobble a little bit. And we're at 1900 on the torque. Still under 740 degrees Celsius on the ITT, which is the turbine temperature. All right, folks, let's hop outside the plane. We're right now doing a little over water flight, but we'll be back over land when we get up here to Point Lay, and then we'll head direct to our initial fix for the arrival into Wainwright. Okay. See if that holds our power setting. Always have that trouble too. All right. We're set at 160 indicated on the speed. Flaps up and estimating Wainwright 48 minutes. Okay, folks, we're going to come back in here. Let me, for now, get this kind of turned down a little bit for us. Keep it running in the background. But let's do the arrival brief here real quick. We've crossed over Point Lay. We're getting close to Wainwright, and we need to start thinking about coming down. For the RNAV, we're going to go direct at this point to NEMCH or CU. To do that, we're going to click Procedure, select Approach, click Enter, RNAV 6 or 24, Enter, and looks like we may have to scroll for it. There it is. Click Enter, load. We're still direct UK, as you'll see here in a minute. Then what we're going to do is click Procedure one more time. Click Activate Approach. And we are now banking towards NEMCU, our initial fix. Alright, so let's... Oh, excuse me, folks. Got the hiccups a little bit. You can see where we're going. It's basically going to enter at 2,000, come back. Currently 65 miles out. So put that back here. Wait, one thing else I want to do. Oops, radios are over here. Oops. Okay, so gosh dang it, I hate explaining again. Alright, there we go. Now we're in the common traffic frequency for our arrival. Now, as you can tell, we're in the clouds. This isn't boding well for how long they're going to remain. May have to go KVOC here. But let's get into the arrival. Real quick here. Okay. So the SIM toolkit, you're looking at our arrival. Across the top is our frequency verif. Radio is 1.25 out area. Railroad, my bad. Wainwright traffic is 122.8. Here's our frequency. The RNAV, 236 arrival, 236 inbound course. That will be final from next IWN. And decision altitude 295, 45 feet above sea level. This approach is climbing 2,000 at PAWI beam. And we're expecting runway into identifier lights and gravity zone. Right now, we do not have any other beam without Wainwright still, so we're gonna have to kind of decide at some point here when we're gonna have to go caving, because we don't even know if we're at our minimums or not. So that's my concern. Alright, so folks, let me bring us back into the center. And I'm going to be right back, and then we'll start our descent. Okay, folks, I'm back. Pardon me if I break away again. My wife is on the phone, so let me... Okay, we need to start down. Arm. Engage. Okay, we're starting down. I'm going to pull the power back a little. Okay, the closest weather we have. Burnell could be about 50 miles west or east of Wainwright. Their winds at 070 at 8, mile and 3/4, but clear with snow. Well, you gotta love clear and still snowing. 82 miles behind us at Point Lay. They're 3/4 of a mile in snow, and it's overcast at 5,500. So hopefully we're going to come out of the clouds here in a minute. Okay, so we're dropping down here at best 1,000 feet a minute. Okay, so I am going to, as you can hear in the background, my wife's on the phone, so I'm going to go mute and respect the confidentiality going on there. So we'll catch you as we get closer to the airport. All right, folks, we're back with you. We've descended from 9,000 down to 3,000. We only went up to 9,000 to try to get over the weather, and we weren't going to be able to, so we just held there, made our descent to 3,000, and we are currently, I'm going to have to pull it up to where I can read it, call it 17 miles from Nemku, and then we'll make our left turn and begin the RNAV approach. As you can see, the weather has broken here. Hallelujah. Let's see if it holds. We're back up to 160 on our speed, and we'll start slowing down on the just before the turn. We'll get her down to around 140 and push it on in from there. So we're for those curious, we're about, I'm going to ballpark it at 10 minutes to landing, but it could go to 20, so about 10 to 20 minutes. So, but if you all like what you've heard or seen, click follow. All that's going to do is two things. Let me know that I'm doing a good job and you want to follow us. And this is the second part, you want to follow us onto our upcoming flights. And what happens when you click follow, when we go live for another live stream, you would get an email letting you know the details. But the big thing is it does let me know I'm doing a pretty decent job here. Lets me know you like the format, you like that, what's going on. If not, folks, the chat room is wide open. It's there for your enjoyment, and just keep the rhetoric in there peaceful. No, I don't want any forum fights or anything like that to erupt. Keep it respectful of each person, and no racial slurs or anything like that, because if you do, I will immediately basically either ban the user or the words that came onto the scene. So think of it this way. It's what a lot of people, and folks, this is going to give my age. If you wanted your mother or grandmother to hear the way you talked, you want them to see it here, because guess what? This will follow you. Because I'll find a way to make it follow you. 56 years old, folks. I know a few little tricks just like you all do. So be respectful. And if you can't be, find another channel. Okay, looking at the GPS, and I just brought it up so you all can see we're getting pretty close. We're now 10 miles. So let me put that back. And where was it called? Nemku. Okay, we're going to go ahead. One last look. So we're at 2,000 feet. Okay. And sky vector up here. Or anything. Man, for some reason this is not playing out like it did before. When I flew up here with FedEx, oh gosh, this would have been maybe a year or two ago. Alright, so we're slowing. Let's bring it on down to torque of 10. Torque is this gauge right here. We watch N2. I believe that's what that one is. Yeah, N2 for our startup, and the torque is what we use as we're coming down. We're about to enter the RNAV. Okay, looks like we need to come down. We're going to keep all the ice on. Let's do our descent. Ice protections on. Fasten seatbelts on. Altimeter set as best we can. We don't really have one for here. Propellers are still at 1900 and ITT well below 740. And GPS and nav are set. Power as required. And our before landing check, we're going to go ahead and start into. Fuel selectors left and right are both on. Fuel condition lever is at high idle. And as soon as we turn inbound, we'll put the props
2500
full forward. All right. All right, what's Barrow? Fortunately, we're not getting any weather. Go with 20. That's the closest we can get. Okay. Alright, and we're now down to 140. We're about to make our turn to MEX IW, and then we'll proceed for runway 24. It's nice to see clear skies, but I can tell we're going to get some kind of fog down once we start our descent in. Leveled at 2,000, so I want to keep it at 140 on this leg. I'm going to check one last thing. NVMe here. Okay, so we should be making that turn here anytime. We're 3 seconds to heading to 325. Now we're 7 miles to XIW. Okay, folks, so now we're into the landing phase. So once we pass and make our turn at XIW, I hope to have us slowed into the white arc, which we're doing right now. White arc, let me show you what that means. Bring you up here. When you look at your indicated airspeeds, you have a white arc here. That is your flaps usable speeds. If you weren't familiar, you can set your flaps. So I'm going to keep it right there for now. Okay, we're level. Okay. All right, so basically by being there at that flap speed, when I make the turn, we will be, according to the chart, 13 miles from the end of the runway. So we're not going to start flaps in that quickly, but we will be at least to 20 degrees by top QI as we begin our final descent into Wainwright. Okay, radar is currently, we're going to keep it on for the moment. We'll switch it to standby here prior to landing. Autopilot will go off, and like I said, we'll run the wing flaps as needed. That's our before landing checks. Normal landing will be flaps full. Airspeed should be around 75 to 85 knots. Of course, the main wheels first. Once on the ground, we go into beta to slow down, and we'll use the brakes as needed. Remove reversers before 25 knots. Okay. We are now 2 miles, so we'll be starting to get some information here. I'm going to go ahead and back the power just a smidge more. Set for 1700. Okay. All right, folks, so we're turning now onto the final approach. 236 is the heading. And let's go ahead, finish up the before landing. Props going forward. We're slowing down. 1700 is as low as I want us here. And we're leveling off at 1700. Turn off the wing boots. Get a notch of flaps in. Allow the aircraft to settle. Five miles to top QI, which is where we need to be at 1700, and then we start our descent into the airfield, which right now I can't see. Five miles from the airfield is what top QI will be. Let's get a little bit of speed in here. Those flaps are doing their thing. Okay, 4 miles to go. NDB straight ahead. 200 foot set. Much better. Still don't have a runway in sight. So worst case scenario, come down. $800 feet. Okay. Now we go to standby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for flying with Mike. We are approximately 8 mile final for the airfield here in Wainwright. Thanks for flying with Mike. Wainwright Common Traffic, Mac Air 572, 5 mile final, 24. Okay, let's go ahead and slow a little bit more. Is there anything on the chart to help me where this airfield is? Wait a minute, I may have it off the nose. This may be it right here. All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go flaps 20. Kind of watch this little area right here and see if okay, we're going to go ahead and slow to 100. Props are full.
1,000.
Flaps are going full, and here comes that fog I was worried about. does the fog. Let me just, last thing I need to worry about. There we go.
$500.
There's the airfield beacon.
$500. $400.
I got the airfield, but holy mackerel.
$300. $200. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
All right, folks, welcome to Wainwright. Well, 530 feet a minute, we're not going to complain after something like that. Didn't see the runway till, my goodness, quarter mile out, half mile. Real pilots can tell me, suck it up, that's a good day of flying. Okay. Okay, I see what we got to do. Wow. They sure don't make this easy. All right. Well, we are on the ground here. Welcome, like I said, to Wainwright. Looking at the screen here, 530 feet a minute. Not a great landing, but not one of my worst either. Hope you all enjoyed the flight into Wainwright. There's our taxiway we were looking for. Love to know what all of that is in the foreground here. I may have to Google search this because it looks like they may bring 737s in here. Because those are some pretty big turnarounds. And Wainwright common traffic, Mac Air 572 off runway 24. Okay, so all right, after landing checks, flaps need to come up. Ice protection can be turned off. Well, yes and no. Let's get to the close to the hangars. strobes, they can definitely go off. Landing lights off. Oh, that's wild. Wonder what's down that way. Super secret. All right. Okay, so we are now in the blocks. Let's turn the taxi lights off. Okay, landing lights, taxi lights as required. Fuel condition lever now to let's get the parking brake set. Okay. All right, parking brake set. Okay, the mixers are in. Oxygen off. Okay, avionics can go off, standby. Let's make sure everything's off. Okay, now standby power to off. Okay, let's bring these switches back up. Fuel boost off. Bleed air off. Flaps up. Okay, 1 minute. Hang on a second. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and feather the prop out. All right, with the prop feathered, let's try that one more time. Let's go to cutoff. Everything's dialing down. All right, fuel control levels cut off, oxygen's off, lights off, battery off. All right, folks, welcome again to Wainwright. We are on the ground here. Beacon off, battery off. All right, and the ground crews are already at work getting our passengers taken care of. And let's hop out and let's see what's going on. And they're also ready to tug it into the hangar. All right, so fuel tanks are off, tie down, chock set, installed the external covers, and we are set, folks, to shut her down. Again, 530 feet a minute on the landing. Not real proud of that, but well, here's our ACARS program for today. Has us at 547. Let's go ahead and stop the flight. Okay, send the PIREP. And it is on its way. Thank you for flying with Mike. If you liked the presentation, by all means, please follow us so that way when we go live, you'll be able to see that. Um, and join in if you like. We're on POSCON a lot, but we can always switch to VATSIM. I try to fly though when there's not a controller up because they can sometimes make us do things we're not planned for in this. So that's why we do that. Other than that, folks, if you like it, follow. But we do thank you for those who have followed, and we thank those who watched. And hope you enjoyed the ride in here to Wainwright, a foggy Wainwright at that. I think we broke out with a minimum of a mile, if not less. And we were able to get on the runway. So again, thanks for flying with Mike. God bless. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.